All right, looks like we're live. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Sanctified Supply Co. YouTube channel. Today we're going to be we're going to be starting a brand new book, First Kings, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're in First Kings chapter 1. I'm reading out of the TS 2009, which is also known as the Scriptures. And without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into our reading today. And I like to change sovereign to king, so bear with me. And King David was old, advanced in years, and they covered him with garments, but he could not get warm. So his servant said to him, "Let them seek for our master, the king, a young woman, a maiden, and she shall stand before the king and be his companion, and shall lie at your bosom, so that our master the king gets warm." And they sought for a beautiful young woman in all the borders of Israel, and found Abishag, the Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the young woman was very beautiful, and she was a companion for the king, and served him, but the king did not know her. They were not intimate. And Adoniah, son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, "I reign." And he prepared for himself a chariot and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. Now his father had not worried him. Excuse me. Oh, that sneeze got away. Now his father had not worried him at any time by saying, "Why have you done so?" He was also very good looking, and he was born after Absalom. And he talked with Joab's son, the of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they supported Adoniah. But Zadok the priest, and Beniyahu, son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimei and Rai, and the mighty men who belonged to David were not with Adoniyahu. And Adoniyahu slaughtered sheep and cattle and fatlings by the stone of Zoheleth, which is by Enrogel. He also invited all his brothers and king's sons, and all the men of Judah, servants of the king. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet, or Beniyahu, or the mighty men, or Shalomo his brother. Nathan then spoke to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, saying, "Have you not heard that Adoniyahu, son of Haggith, has become king, and David our master does not know it? And now come, let me give you advice, and deliver your own life and the life of your son Solomon." I'm going to say Solomon from now on. "Go immediately to King David and say to him, 'Did you not, my master, O king, swear to your female servant, saying, Certainly our son Solomon shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? Why then is Adoniyahu become king? Look, while you are still speaking there with the king, while you are still speaking there with the king, let me come in after you and confirm your words.' And Bathsheba went into the room to the king. Now the king was very old, and Abishag the Shunammite was serving the king. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance to the king. And the king said, 'What do you wish?' And she said to him, 'My master, you swore by Yahuwah your Elohim to your female servant, saying, Certainly Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now, look, Adoniah has become king. And now, my master, O king, you do not know it. You do not know about it. And he has slaughtered great number of bulls and fatlings and sheep, and has invited all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army, but did not invite Solomon your servant. And you, my master, O king, the eyes of all Israel are on you, to declare to them who is going to sit on the throne of my master the king after him. Otherwise it shall be, when my master the king rests with his fathers, that I and my son Solomon shall be considered sinners. And see, while she was still speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet also came in. So they informed the king, saying, Here is Nathan the prophet. And when he came in before the king, he bowed down before the king with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, My master, O king, have you said Adoniyahu shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he has gone down today and has slaughtered great numbers of bulls and fatlings and sheep, and has invited all the king's sons and the commanders of the army, and Abiathar the priest. And look, they are eating and drinking before him, and they say, Let King Adoniyahu live. But he has not invited me your servant, nor Zadok the priest, nor Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, nor your servant Solomon. If this matter is from my master the king, then you did not let your servant know who should sit on the throne of my master the king after him. Excuse me. And King David answered and said, Call Bathsheba to me. So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king took an oath and said, As Yahuwah lives, who has ransomed my life out of all distress, even as I swore to you by Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, saying, Certainly, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so I do this day. And Bathsheba bowed with her face to the earth and did obeisance to the king and said, Let my master, King David, live forever. And King David said, Call me Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet and Benaiah son of Jehoiada. And they came before the king. And the king said to them, Take with you the servants of your master, and you shall have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and take him down to Gihon. And there Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet shall anoint him king over Israel, and blow the shofar and say, Let King Solomon live. And you shall come up after him, and he shall come and sit on my throne, and he shall reign in my place, for I have commanded him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah. So, quick commentary. I believe this is really when the north and south kingdoms were split. So we already have a distinction, even in the language that David's using right here. It says, let him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah. So they've already kind of separated themselves, but now we have another leader coming in that's trying to usurp Solomon's position as king. So that's all I got. Let's keep reading. Verse 36. And Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, answered the king and said, Amen. So says Yahuwah Elohim of my master the king. As Yahuwah has been with my master the king, so let him be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my master King David. Then Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethites and the Pelethites went down and had Solomon ride on King David's mule, and took him to Gihon. And Zadok the priest took a horn of oil from the tent and anointed Solomon. And they blew with the shofar, and all the people said, Let King Solomon live. And all the people came up after him, and the people played the flutes and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth was split by their noise. Is that metaphorical or is that literal? Let me know what you think. I am not certain. Verse 41. And Adoniyahu and all the guests who were with him heard it as they had finished eating. And Joab heard the voice of the shofar and said, Why is the city in such a noisy uproar? And he was still speaking, then see, Jonathan came son of Abiathar the priest, and Adoniah said to him, "Come in, for you are a brave man, and you bring good news." But Jonathan answered and said to Adoniah, "No, our master King David has made Solomon king, and the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah son of Jehoiada, and the Kerethites and the Pelethites, and they had him ride on the king's mule. And Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king at Gihon. And they have gone up from there rejoicing, and the city is moved. This is the noise you heard. And further, Solomon sits on the throne of the king of the reign. And further, the servants of the king have gone to bless our master King David, saying, "Let your Elohim make the name of Solomon better than your name, and his throne greater than your throne." And the king bowed himself on the bed. And the king also said thus, "Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, who has given one to sit on my throne this day, while my eyes see it." And all the guests who were invited by Adoniah were afraid and rose, and each one went his way. And Adoniah was afraid of Solomon, and rose and went and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. And it was reported to Solomon, saying, "Look, Adoniah is afraid of King Solomon. And look, he has taken hold of the horns of the slaughter place, saying, Let King Solomon swear to me this day that he does not put his servant to death with the sword." And Solomon said, "If he proves himself a worthy man, not one hair of him is going to fall to the earth. But if evil is found in him, then he shall die." And King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the slaughter place. And he came and fell down before King Solomon. And Solomon said to him, "Go to your house." All right. Shalom, J.R. Cleve, Kermode Bear, JS Genesis Designs. Shalom, guys. Good to see y'all here. So I didn't give much of a heads up. I plan on being on here much earlier this afternoon. I was planning on being here this morning. But better late than never. At least we're not a month apart between videos. So let's see. I see you you're referring to the to my silly dad joke that I put on YouTube earlier. Let's see barking doggin. Since when did YouTube do a delay notification option? Oh, that's interesting. Shalom. Kermode Bear says Shalom JS Genesis. All right. So yeah, we're just coming with the word. That's what's up. Looks like someone's been watching Tom Selleck. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Putting off that Tom Selleck vibe, I guess. So real quick peek and then we'll get back to reading. So I did some test prints of the Passover shirt, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. So this is for the children. For the adults, it'll be in navy. This is the back. I haven't printed the fronts yet. I got my dryer heating up right now. I do not like filming my screen printing process. It's very annoying having to stop production, move a camera. My press is always spinning, so my tripod's always in the way. So I'm not going to be filming the screen printing. It's also kind of boring unless I do like very involved editing. So I'm not going to do that this time, especially because I want to get these things out. A lot of people have pre-ordered these, signing up to the t-shirt of the month thing. So I want to get those to people in time for everybody to have them at Passover, because I know some people are keeping Zadok calendar And so Passover is going to be earlier. And yeah, anyways, back to the reading. Chapter 2, Zibok and Doggin. Oops, chapter 3. Chapter 2. And the days of David drew near to the days of David drew near to die, and he commanded Solomon his son, saying, I'm going the way of all the earth, and you shall be strong and be a man. And guard the charge of Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to guard his laws, his commands, his right rulings, and his witnesses, as it is written in the Torah of Moshe, so that you do wisely in all that you do and wherever you turn, so that Yahuwah does establish his word, which he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons guard their way to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their being, saying there is not to cease a man, saying there is not to cease a man of yours on the throne of Israel. Excuse me. And also, you know that Joab, son of Zeruiah, you know what Joab, son of Zeruiah, did to me, and what he did to the two commanders of the armies of Israel, to Abner, son of Ner, and Amasa, son of Yether. And he killed them and shed the blood of battle in peace, and put the blood of battle on his belt that was around his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. So act according to your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair go down to Sheol in peace. But show loving commitment to the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat at your table. For so they came to me when I fled from Absalom your brother. And see, with you is Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjamite, from Baharim, who cursed me with a grievous cursing in the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swore to him by Yahuwah, saying, I shall not put you to death with the sword. And now do not leave him unpunished, for you are a wise man and know what you should do to him, and shall bring his gray hair down to Sheol with blood. And David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. He reigned 7 years in Hebron, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. And Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his reign was firmly established. And Adoniyahu, son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, and she said, do you come in peace? And he said, peace. And he said, I have a word for you. And she said, speak. And he said, you know that the reign was mine, and all Israel had set their faces toward me, and I should reign. But the reign has been turned around and has become my brother's, for it was his from Yahuwah. And now I am making one request of you. Do not refuse me. And she said to him, say it. And he said, please speak to King Solomon, for he would not refuse you, to give me Abishag the Shushemite as wife. And Bathsheba said, good, let me speak for you to the king. And Bathsheba came to King Solomon to speak to him for Adoniyahu. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed down to her, and sat down on his throne, and had a throne set for the king's mother. So she sat at his right hand. And she said, I am making one small request of you. Do not refuse me. And the king said to her, ask it, my mother, for I do not refuse you. Then she said, let Abishag the Shushemite be given to Adoniyahu your brother as wife. And King Solomon answered and said to his mother, now why do you ask Abishag the Shushemite for Adoniyahu? Ask for him the reign also, for he is my older brother. For him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab son of Zeruiah. And King Solomon swore by Yahuwah, saying, Elohim does to me and more also, if Adonai has not spoken this word against his own life. And now, as Yahuwah lives, who established me and set me on the throne of David my father, and who has made me a house, as he promised, Adonai shall be put to death today. And King Solomon sent by the hand of Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, and he fell upon him, and he died. Then the king said to Abiathar the priest, Go to Anathoth to put your own fields, for you go to Anathoth to your own fields, for you deserve death. But I do not put you to death at this time, because you did bear the ark of the Master Yahuwah before my father David, and because you are afflicted in all my father was afflicted. And all my father was afflicted in. So Solomon dismissed Abiathar from being priest to Yahuwah, to fill the word of Yahuwah which he spoke concerning the house of Eli at Shiloh. And news came to Joab, for Joab had turned aside from Adonijah, though he did not turn aside after Absalom. And Joab fled to the tent of Yahuwah, and took hold of the horns of the slaughter place. And the report came to King Solomon that Joab had fled to the tent of Yahuwah, and see, he is by the slaughter place. Then Solomon sent Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, fall on him. Solomon's going on like a rampage right now. Verse 30, So Benaiah came to the tent of Yahuwah and said to him, Thus said the king, Come out. And he said, No, for here I die. And Benaiah brought back word to the king, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. And the king said to him, Do as he has said, and fall upon him. And you shall bury him, so that you take away from me, and from my house, and from the house of my father, the blood which Joab shed without cause. Thus Yahuwah shall return his blood on his head, because he has fallen on two men more righteous and better than he, and killed them with the sword. While my father David did not know it, Abner, son of Ner, commander of the army of Israel, and Amasa, son of Jether, commander of the army of Judah. So shall their blood return upon the head of Joab, and upon the head of his seed forever. But upon David and his seed, upon his house and his throne, there is to be peace forever from Yahuwah. Then Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, went up and fell upon him and put him to death. And he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. And the king put Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, in his place over the army. And the king put Zadok the priest in the place of Abiathar. And the king sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem, and dwell there, and do not go out from there. Do not go out from there anywhere. And it shall be on the day you go out and pass over the Wadi Kidron, know for certain that you shall die. Your blood is on your own head. And Shimei said to the king, The word is good. As my master the king has said, so your servant does. So Shimei dwelt in Jerusalem many days, and it came to be at the end of 3 years that 2 slaves of Shimei fled to Achish, son of Maacah, king of Gath. And they informed Shimei, saying, See, your slaves are in Gath. One moment, please. I am being hollered at. Whoa! Sorry about that. Okay. Slaves in Gath. Okay. Verse 40, And Shimei rose up and saddled his donkey and went to Achish at Gath to look for his slaves, and Shimei went and brought his slaves from Gath. And Solomon was told that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath and had come back. So the king sent and called for Shimei and said to him, "Did I not make you swear by Yahuwah and warn you, saying, know for certain that on the day you leave to go anywhere you shall certainly die? And you said to me, the word I have heard is good. And why have you not guarded the oath of Yahuwah and the command that I gave you?" The king also said to Shimei, "You shall know all the evil that your heart has known, and that you did to my father, and Yahuwah shall return your evil on your head. But King Solomon is blessed, and the throne of David is established before Yahuwah forever." So the king commanded Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, and he went out and fell on him, and he died. And the king was established in the hand of Solomon. All right. So that's just a couple chapters. See, I want to do more consistent readings in smaller doses. So we'll do probably 2 to 4 chapters a day, and we'll do this like 5 days a week so that there's just consistency. So, Jared, Brian, shalom. Travis Bolt, shalom, guys. All right, so I'm going to jump off here. I've got some work to get done. Hope you guys enjoyed. On your way out, give this video a like. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Shalom, guys.